Global and regional dynamics of conflict are rapidly changing and posing a challenge to traditional state structures and military approaches. Conflicts between conventional armies are gradually waning, giving rise to a non-linear matrix of actors and technique. Likewise, the meanings of victory and defeat in battle are also changing, with the terminology quickly becoming a relic of the past. South Asia is no exception. The perennial state of conflict between India and Pakistan is changing and blurring the line between the states of war and peace. Today, wars are no longer declared. This is Globe Z, and today we will analyze hybrid warfare and its impacts on Pakistan. Concerns were raised by Pakistan's Chief of Army Staff, General Qamar Javed Bajwa, while addressing the 137th PMA Long Course ceremony, when he stated that Pakistan is facing enormous challenges both in conventional and sub-conventional domains, and that our enemies know that they cannot beat us fair and square and have thus subjected us to a cruel, evil and protracted hybrid war. Without naming any countries, General Bajwa clearly indicated the precarious situation on Pakistan's eastern and western borders with India and Afghanistan, and the growing covert activities of hostile agencies to inflict wounds within. Hybrid warfare waged by intelligence agencies involves the use of irregular forces and unconventional methods to target key vulnerabilities of opponents. These vulnerabilities could be political, economic, social or diplomatic, thus capitalizing on weaknesses of adversaries to achieve the following objectives, which are known as the 3D objectives. They are destabilize, demoralize and disintegrate. In the context of a hybrid warfare strategy, the use of irregular forces or terrorism is to be seen as an instrument of aggression. The Republic of India cannot afford to risk an all-out war with Pakistan, which could lead to a nuclear exchange or even a limited war that may severely hamper its economic ambitions. Indian leadership has therefore chosen to wage a hybrid war against Pakistan, in which the use of irregular forces or terrorist groups is a key instrument. Indian media has been waging information warfare against Pakistan. For example, Bollywood's movie Uri, which depicts Indian special forces conducting a surgical strike inside Pakistan. This was done to bolster the image of the Modi government and to create an international image of Pakistan as a terrorist sponsoring state. Furthermore, Indian lobbyists in the international media industry are doing propaganda against Pakistan. Indian media started warmongering in the post-Pulwama scenario. For example, Republic TV, an Indian news channel which is on the payroll of BJP, tried to project that the suicide bomber responsible for Pulwama attack came from Pakistan, which was later debunked. After the Pulwama attack, Indian Defence Ministry established a social media wing with the sole task of spreading fake news. Cyber warfare has come to be known as one of the most important facets of a hybrid warfare strategy. During the post-Pulwama attack escalation in February 2019, the Indian state launched a covert cyber attack on Pakistan in which Pakistan's government, military and commercial assets were targeted. Websites of Pakistan's foreign office were hacked and put out of service. India is also waging an economic war on Pakistan. Economic warfare is used to weaken a country's economy and slow its rise to a point where it cannot threaten the domination of the existing superpower or regional power. This type of warfare is currently being waged between the United States and China, the so-called Sino-American trade war. Economic warfare also poses a great risk for Pakistan, as its hostile neighbor India has a vested interest in keeping Pakistan's economy stagnant and uncompetitive. India has been waging a water conflict on Pakistan to hamper its economic growth. India has always tried to use water as a weapon against Pakistan since 1947. For example, in 1947, India cut off the water supply to West Punjab. This had severe effects on the economy and increased the chances of a famine. This is known as the Canal Water Dispute. India and Pakistan became signatories to the Indus Water Treaty in 1960, according to which western rivers, which are Indus, Jhelum and Chenab, were given to Pakistan, and eastern rivers, which are Ravi, Sutlej and Beas, were given to India. However, India has been violating this treaty and creating dams and barrages, as India is an upper riparian and Pakistan is a lower riparian. Examples of such violations are construction of Vular Barrage in 1984 over River Jhelum. It was constructed without consulting Pakistan. Construction of Puglia Dam in the mid-90s over River Chenab. This has led to the drying up of a substantial amount of arable land. Construction of Krishan Ganga Dam in 2007. This dam will give India control over a river that flows from Pakistan into Indian-held Kashmir and then re-enters Pakistan. Basically, India can now direct the flow of water and cause flash floods in Pakistan. Construction of Puglia Hydropower project in 2008. India is filling up the Puglia reservoir, which is leaving Pakistan a water-scarce country. India is also using Afghanistan's soil against Pakistan. Since 2011, India has pledged about 2 billion total in development projects in Afghanistan. Among these projects is the construction of dams. The Kabul River is fueling a wicked conflict between Afghanistan and Pakistan. The Afghan government recently announced that they will soon commence work on the construction construction of the $236 million Sahtut Dam on the Kabul River. The Kabul River supplies 26% of the annual flow of water in Pakistan. The river and its tributaries provide an important source of livelihood for nearly 25 million people living around the basin, and that population is expected to increase to 37 million by 2050. That's a threat to a country like Pakistan, which is highly dependent on agriculture. A World Resources Institute report states that Pakistan could become the most water-stressed nation in the region by 2040. Political warfare is the final element of a hybrid warfare strategy. This dimension of hybrid warfare employs a mix of legal warfare, known as lawfare, diplomatic warfare, and other political instruments to weaken the target country. Asad Umar, Pakistan's finance minister, in March 2019 asked the Financial Action Task Force to remove India from the co-chair of the Asia-Pacific's joint group. The group is reviewing the country's progress on implementation of the FATF action plan. Pakistani policymakers suspected that India was attempting to get the country blacklisted for its own internal political and foreign policy purposes. Furthermore, hostile countries have gone on all-out diplomatic offensive to subvert Pakistan. Themes which are being propagated include portraying Pakistan as a hub of terrorism, Pakistan standing isolated, and Pakistan supporting insurgencies in other countries. Narratives are built against Pakistan's nuclear assets, such as there are efforts to project a theme that a non-nuclear Pakistan will be more peaceful, economically viable, and in harmony with the neighbors. Pakistan is projected as a center of proliferation despite stringent measures on Pakistan's part. Despite having a viable and strong nuclear security system, Pakistan is still singled out for security concerns. China-Pakistan Economic Corridor has also been on the target of this political warfare being waged by India. CPEC has been termed as a game changer for Pakistan's economy. All-out efforts are in open to subvert this corridor of economic prosperity by spreading false information regarding its route and to create trust deficit between provinces within Pakistan. Another important feature of political warfare is the use of various groups, which either represent a fault line or represent a significant vessel for political change. There are several such groups, some peaceful, some violent, which have a decisive impact on the overall security metrics of the country. These groups can be revolutionaries such as Hizb ut-Tahrir that attempted to overthrow the state through a bloody military coup in Pakistan, as revealed by the arrest and subsequent interrogation of Brigadier Ali Khan in 2011, or reactionaries, which are violent groups created as a reaction to state policy or various geopolitical dynamics, such as the Tehreek-e-Taliban Pakistan or TTP, which was created as a reaction of Pakistan's role in the US-led war on terror. India found a willing ally in the TTP to attack Pakistan with ferocious terrorist attack on both civil and military targets to bring about a breakdown of the state structure internally. Chuck Hagel has also confirmed India's role in fomenting proxy terrorist forces in Pakistan. These groups can also take the form of separatists. Separatists are violent groups that are created and supported by hostile state actors to try and undermine the territorial integrity of Pakistan. The clearest example of this category of militants would be the India-backed Mukti Bahani militant group, which waged a civil war in East Pakistan with full backing from the Indian military and the Indian government. This was confirmed by Prime Minister Modi in 2015 in a speech he gave in Bangladesh. Afghanistan-based Baloch Liberation Front or BLF is another example of militant separatists. With a clear inclination towards serving the Indian hybrid warfare objectives in Pakistan, this terrorist group is behind the gruesome executions of migrant laborers in Balochistan. Sometimes these groups take the form of agitators. Agitators are pressure groups agitating politically or employing violence to protect or further their vested objectives through blackmail and sabotage. Various militant groups such as the Baloch Republican Army BRA, Baloch Liberation Army or BLA are waging an insurgency for their vested financial and political interests. These groups have been actively supported by India under the Doval Doctrine, as revealed by Commander Kulbhushan Jadhav, a deep cover operator of Research and Analysis Wing, that is RAW, who was captured by Pakistan. These groups were responsible for many terrorist attacks, including the one on the Qaid Residency and the Chinese consulate in Karachi. In addition to this, political pressure groups or NGOs are also used, which are aided by hostile state actors to undermine the political, economic and social stability of Pakistan, to internally weaken the state system, erode public trust in the state and government, and to harm Pakistan's international relations, image and trade, often through propaganda and other non-lethal means. The narrative and actions taken by the PTM or Pashtun Tahaffuz movement are consistent with the role defined under this category.